Hey guys, I'm back today to talk about medical marijuana. Why did I use medical marijuana for MS? Why did I stop using medical marijuana for MS? But eventually I started to use medical marijuana for so many other things rather than just MS. So that's another video. Right now, why did I start? And then continue for about 12 or 13 years. Because you know what? I think it really did help. I know it helped me, but then eventually it started to kind of hinder things. So, start how it helped. Number one, initially, so I was denied health insurance. In Washington State, 2008, it was still legal to deny people the very thing that they needed the most, health insurance, if you had a condition like MS, cancer, lupus, HIV, glaucoma. I can't remember, there was a handful of things that medical marijuana was legal for in Washington State at that time. So at that point, I had MS for a couple years, and I was getting progressively worse on the big pharma, which I didn't trust in the first place. I just was getting worse on it, and I was working this really stressful job at a veterinary hospital, humane society, no-kill shelter, but we killed a lot of animals in the vet department, and it was really stressful. I didn't really want to do that job anymore. I didn't feel like it was good for my health. It definitely wasn't good for my head. But then I became scared because of that job. I had eventually insurance through that job, and I was scared to leave it because I didn't want to be denied as I was. So whatever, high stress job, kept getting worse on big pharma, decided to leave that job. Then I was denied health insurance. Just exactly the very thing I became scared of happened. Well, I was scared of everything at that point. It was just any diagnosis like that, man, it's so scary. And you just you want to have all the options available for what might be helpful for you. You want to be able to choose those things, and if you can't even choose big pharma because the big money, big conventional medicine is denying you, it's you're gonna look for other things, and that's what I did. I just started looking other directions, and yeah, at that point, medical marijuana was legal in Washington State at that time for MS, and so I just started actually looking into it, because I was never a pot person. You know what I mean? Some people were in their teens or 20s, but not me. I just wasn't. I was scared of it more than anything. It seems like scare is a big theme here, but it kind of was at that time, especially. So, getting worse on big pharma, and then eventually, wanted to abandon big pharma altogether, which didn't happen until a little bit later. But first encounter with the neurologist who prescribed it to me, she said, and so it wasn't until 2010 that I finally decided, because I kind of moved all over the world, whatever, came back to Seattle in my really kind of a bad state. At that point, I had so many relapses that I really couldn't walk that well. Again, it would kind of come and go, but at that point, I was just terrified. But I didn't really want to go back on big pharma, but I didn't really know what I was going to do. And so my neurologist gave me this prescription for sleeping. And she said that she prescribed things to her patients for sleep that was much worse, in her opinion, than cannabis. So she was happy to prescribe it to me. She said it's good for your nervous system, it's good for your immune system. It's not good for your pulmonary system, depending on how you ingest it. She recommended a vaporizer. This is probably I don't know, I've had a few of these things over the past 13 years. But yeah, vaporizer can, sort of just decrease the risk of any pulmonary concerns. And so, whatever, she prescribed it to me, and I was ecstatic. But the thing is, like, I was also involved in this stressful relationship by then. And so partly I was ecstatic that, oh, cool, maybe I can sleep. Maybe it's going to help my MS. And at the same time, I was like, oh, cool, maybe it can help me deal with this relationship. So it was always kind of a double-edged thing for me, or like many edges to this. Yeah, it's a bit of a sword. It's a strong substance, marijuana. It's much stronger, I think, than I gave it credit for initially. Except that the very first time I used it, I was like, I don't know, 18 or 19. I tried it. I did try it, and I thought I was gonna die. I was so sure that I was dying. And so it just terrified me to where I didn't use it then for about 13 years or something, like whatever. It wasn't until I was like 30 something that I got this prescription. And okay, so prescribed the medical marijuana, and then at that point I did have the health insurance again, and I combine it with Copaxone. Oh man, when I remember those injections, it feels really bad to me. It was a kind of a traumatizing thing to do those injections. It's like, oh man, I really feel for anybody who's doing them, especially when you do it to yourself. It's like, oh. And so, to be honest, like, I would sometimes then use the marijuana in order to like relax enough in order to stab myself with the big pharma poison, which never really worked out in my favor, because it's just like I just could feel more of everything, and I could feel more the needle, going into me, and it didn't work out. But like I kind of just tried to use the marijuana for just about everything. And the thing is, so, okay, 2010 prescribed it. 2011 is when I abandoned all the big pharma. I divorced the relationship, which means that at that point, I didn't have health insurance, but I always had this medical marijuana thing, and so I just kept using it. I just kept using the marijuana and didn't concern myself with health insurance, because it made me mad that they would deny me, and I didn't really want what health insurance could offer me at that point, which was like, at that point it was like a number, like 5 or 6 different choices of what I saw as poison. Some people see marijuana as poison, but we all are we all have our own outlook, and over time my outlook would grow to change, as I hope that we all change over time. But yeah, so it's like I just kept using the marijuana, and I started to get better. Like over time I really started to realize, wow, I haven't had a relapse in like 3-4 years now, and yeah, wow, okay, I've been using marijuana really regularly, and it's like I just started to kind of look at what was going on, and I really started to believe that it was the marijuana that was helping me do so well, like physically. I just was feeling so strong in my body, but at the same time, I was also doing a lot of nutritional stuff. I had eliminated stress from my life, or did my best. Can never do it all, but whatever. That was a big thing. I was like, I know that MS is like affected by stress, so I was like, whatever. I was doing all these things, and I was also doing medical marijuana, and so I don't know. I'll never know like what it was exactly that helped me so much. But I really believed in this medical marijuana stuff, and I started to become scared to leave that because I felt like it was why I was doing as well as I was doing. And so I just was scared to leave it. But at the same time, I was having a hard time abandoning the marijuana. Like I would try to stop, and it just became challenging to stop. And I'm talking like, okay, so if I got the prescription in 2010, it was probably 2014, 15. By the time I started to think, maybe I'm ready to kind of let this go now. I'm not too sure, but I think I want to let it go. And then, wow, I just found it so challenging to let it go. It was super easy to let go of Big Pharma, but it became really challenging to let go of the marijuana. And so it's like, because it had also become kind of a helper for all these other things in life, which, you know, over time just became more and more challenging, and the marijuana seemed to help. And why did it most likely seem to help? Because it most likely just helped me not care, you know, about those things. I really didn't care, so it didn't seem like a problem. So yeah, I was a dedicated pot user for quite a while before I even like thought about letting it go. But then when I tried to let it go, it just seemed to stay. It became really hard to let it go. Just like, then I really couldn't sleep. But then my anxiety became like so bad. And it's like everything it's just like so. These noises, right? Can you hear that? Like, anyway, so over time, I think I started to rely too much on the marijuana, and it just kind of took over my life. But at the same time, I really think that it really helped my nervous system. I think it helped my mind just like process things differently. I gained a lot of interesting viewpoints that I didn't find accessible without the cannabis. It's like, you know, just a sort of creativity increased, and with that creativity, I just considered a lot of different ideas than I had, you know, considered before. I was eating a lot better prior to the MS. Oh man, eating disordered lady. I had a hard time with my body image and with food. Anorexia was a problem there in the past. But then come MS, cannabis, wow, I abandoned that really in order to get strong. I didn't really care at that point what I needed to do to get strong. If that meant eating whatever I needed to eat, I was going to eat it, which was at least a 180-degree shift from 5 or 6 or 10 years prior when I was just scared of eating anything. So, okay, I feel like the cannabis helped. It helped my eating. It helped my mind. It helped my body, I'm sure. Certainly helped me sleep. But I don't know, like, I only got better over time using medical marijuana, and I only got worse over time using Big Pharma. So I don't know exactly what was going on there. I only know sort of the logical sort of conclusion. And I just kind of put all my chips into that conclusion and just like kept on with the marijuana. If I couldn't really stop, I would just keep going. And, you know, over time I cared less and less about the fact that I couldn't really stop. Because that is another thing with cannabis. It kind of like lets you not care about anything other than cannabis. At least for me, that was my experience. I don't know about you guys. But the thing is, like, I really feel like it helped my MS. And at the same time, over time, like over then about 13 years of using it, I felt like it started to kind of put a damper on my, just my well-being in general, like for jobs and just like relationships and finances, right? These like major aspects of life that we really should be concerned about, but I didn't really care about when I was using it so much. But at the same time, I really believed it was helping my MS, and I believe it does. And like, okay, another little side note. I don't know if you've seen this video, YouTube thing about epilepsy and medical marijuana. And where this man, he's like on a couch and he's like having a seizure. Just full on strong seizure, and then the only thing that helped his body relax, nervous system fully relax, was actually cannabis. And it was remarkable when I saw that. Maybe I'll put a link to, if I can find it, I'll put a link to that video. It's super interesting. And so I really kind of held on to that vision, that kind of image of like, wow, like it's doing something to the nervous system that's helping it relax in a way that Big Pharma was not helping this guy with epilepsy. It's like a few conditions like Big Pharma doesn't work for, but cannabis does, and epilepsy is one of them. And I'm wondering about MS, because as far as I'm concerned, for me, Big Pharma did not work for me. I only got worse. So now here I am in a place where, you know, I'm off the pot. I'm off the pot, and that's really why I can make this video now. I have space in my brain. I can actually do things. So that's a bonus, and like more about you know, why I stopped in another video. But for today, just in case anybody is wondering if medical marijuana might help their multiple sclerosis, you know what? Make sure it has high CBDs. I mean, that's really the helpful thing in it. You know, like the THC is just gonna, you know, people react differently to it. I really liked it, but I became super attached, maybe even addicted. But, you know, they say it's not addictive, but yeah, I've spoke to a number of people over the years, Marijuana Anonymous, like different groups of people who are just became really stuck with the marijuana. So there's that. But you know what? For 13 years, I fully embraced it. Okay, not fully, because part of me was like, oh, I kind of want to stop. But I fully did it anyway. And I don't know why I'm as healthy as I am now. Maybe it's the weed. Maybe it's the nutrition. Maybe it's the decision to eliminate stress. I don't know what, you know, because you can never eliminate stress fully, but it's like that intention, right? Like if the intention is there, no, I don't know, intention is a lot. So, and please forgive me, it's kind of an awkward thing to talk about. Like it's really awkward, actually. It's awkward. There's so much judgment. And for a while, I judged myself too. Yeah, I used to judge stoners. I was way too good for weed. Like I was too good for that. I wanted my sharp brain. Whatever. I was like, I just looked down upon it for, you know, until I was about 30, 31, until I actually really thought that I needed it. And I think I did need it. And now I know that I needed to let it go. So there's that. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope to see you again. I hope everyone is doing really well. I hope everyone is getting whatever they need to do what they need to heal. And yeah, happy trails.